Banter fam, happy Tuesday to you all. Okay, guys, we spoke about a pullback yesterday. We have now started the pullback. And now we've got two big plays. We've got CPI coming out in about 3 hours from now. So expect some volatility. But the important thing for us now is to basically prepare ourselves for the bounce, right? And to see, hey, we have now hit, this is what I gave you guys yesterday. I said over here, the trap was coming. And again, it's not a, I know that this was going to happen. No, it was basically just looking and seeing what was being printed out. When something is going up sideways like this or slowly to the uptrend over here, it's telling you that a lie is kind of happening and a trap's going to come at any point. So now the trap has begun. The question though is, are we going to go a little bit lower? Right? Because I do have another target over here at 100K. Okay. And there's one important level for us to make sure. Okay. And then from there, we need to prepare for an all-time high break on Bitcoin. And a day like today, where we have CPI, can either give us enough power to get through here, or we can have a little bit of a higher reading, a little bit of a worse news than what we expected, okay, and actually give us that little dip off to maybe Bitcoin going down a little bit lower. And that is going to give us incredible buys. Now, again, I want you to change your mentality to what we are focusing on this week. If you realize that 2 weeks ago was the best entries to get for the pump that just happened, right? We are now at that phase that the best entries we're going to get is in this week now for the pump that's going to happen for the next 2 weeks again. This week is about where are we buying more? What are we buying? How are we going to do this? Then we focus on making the money again. So you are just going to continuously shift your brain to when you're focusing on the gains that you're making, again, when it's time to maybe take some off the table versus when it's time to lock down and really focus on the entries that I want to get. And this week is all about entries and making sure that we are ready for the next big explosion. We know what comes next. We know how fast this market's going to wake up. Look at the weekly on a lot of these altcoins over here. I actually think that we are going to have, and I just want to show you here, I think that at any point now, this could maybe be a little bit red, but I think by the end of the week, we're going to have a nice fat green candle. And I think by next week, we can actually have altcoins, because remember, where Bitcoin really pumped was when it got through this big zone over here. I think a candle like this is awaiting the altcoins. And remember, one candle like that takes us all the way back to the levels of where we were in November. Then the dump is gone. Bye-bye. Who's still left in the game? Let's go again, right? And then people are going to come flying back in. So guys, lock in with me. We've got a big week ahead of us. We've got a big show ahead of us. Let's get through this patch now. Let's get our damn buys. You know what's nice? I feel like we're level-headed. I feel like we are not just running with this market and getting over ourselves. We waited for the pullback. When everyone was flipping bullish now, they were all bearish 3 days ago. Now they're all bullish. They flipped the market pullback. We are in tune with it, baby. So let's have a great show. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like sniper. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
Banter fam, I see 71% on bullish. How are we doing, guys? We're waiting nice and tight. I see I'm still waiting for a couple of my limit orders. Okay, so what that means now is I have a choice. I can go cancel limit orders and go all in now, right? Or I can remember why I made those decisions, and I got to realize that Bitcoin has lost a short-term support, and if we don't get through it now in the next 2-3 hours, it's very likely there's one more leg to come down. But that's the leg that I want. What are we waiting for here? We're waiting for some RSIs to come down. That's all that we're waiting for. Remember, before we started this pump on Bitcoin, remember we started to chop a little bit, right? Remember this phase over here? This happened before the rally came, right? And in this little phase over here, what basically happens is it allows RSIs to reset. It allows the market to cool down and basically chops around. But you know what I realized in this point over here is I gave away a little bit of money here, right? Not anywhere near when this was all happening. But I realized that by me just when the market started to rally up and we knew, okay, wait for a pullback, right? Wait for a pullback or at some point you test support, okay? The moment you jump the gun too quickly. So for example, here, you would have seen that there was a nice little rally. We started pulling back and then you saw, oh, we're going again, FOMO in. What would have happened? Chop, 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 chop. So it taught me a very valuable lesson that when it comes to your buys here, have a little bit more patience. Because if you don't, then you could be sitting in this chop that's just going to exhaust your brain a little bit. Okay, so now again, we have started the pullback. We got to see where we finish up next. And again, there's going to be two ways we're going to play this. Again, I'm sitting with a bunch of limit orders. It's popping over here. Okay, bunch of limit orders are sitting in place over here. They're sitting over there at this point. Okay, and I want to go through the two scenarios because I want to nail the next buy. That's what I want. I already took this now up, and I can actually be back to strong levels again if I get the next trades correct. I can be back at 500K. Then I'm getting back to where I was in November, right? Getting back to those crazy levels again, and that's what I'm purely focused on. So when you see a bunch of my accounts here, you can see I'm still sitting on cash at this point, and I'm sitting with limit orders, okay? But I want to show you what happens if this market actually wants to go from here, right? What are we going to then be doing, and how do we know the major buys? So again, first thing, let's jump in here to short time frame. Let's go through the trap that played out. This is exactly where I left it yesterday, right? Perfectly. So again, the first biggest step here was just knowing that this market was trending to the upside like this, kind of giving you a little bit of a lie. So remember, what is bullish is when something is starting to trail down. Okay, when it's going up like this, it's kind of lying to you. And when the shake comes, it kind of catches a lot of people off guard. And again, if we look at it and we just go through a couple here, you could see that margin for errors start getting a little bit less now in bull markets. You don't want to time things too incorrectly because you can go into a 24% loss in one day, right? So you don't want to do that. You don't want to go through this loss. The market's volatile right now. Okay, so you want to play. You've got to understand that people are so FOMO-ish right now that they're willing to buy anything. And you got to know that the market knows this. The market is going to play the game. So the first sign we saw when everyone was flipping bullish and everyone was basically saying, you know, now I'm going bull, these type of things. Not that they're incorrect. It's good to go bull now. I think high time frame is market's going to rocket. But what they didn't realize was, hey, this was a nice little trap that was coming to play first. So the trap played out. So the first sign was us losing the support over here. Okay. And then we moved down. Now, the one concern that I have where we are right now and why I'm thinking of plan B, right? It's because let's quickly play this out. What happened over here was we basically rallied up and we had supports. And you could see very clearly that this trend line we had at the bottom was there for one job. Was basically there to show us that higher lows is what the market is currently making, right? And higher highs. The problem is we were not moving. So we needed to break through it to really show that this was not weakness that was actually being formed. Now what you see here is now we dropped the level. And for the first time now, we made a lower low, right? So now the question is now, okay, is a higher high super important so it's reversed? Otherwise, we are actually in a little midterm downtrend. And that's okay. It's not good. This is great. This is where we get our buys. Again, we're going to celebrate red days, right? Pullbacks is where we're happy, okay, because we prepared for it more this time, right? But now it's basically saying that now we're pushing up over here. But if we don't get through this important area over here, there's nothing stopping one more here. And then what is happening is we are forming a bullish pattern, right? So right now we are here, sure. But do we have a bullish pattern? Do we have a full reason that this is just going to break? Now, again, we got CPI coming out today. This might be the event, right? This might be something that's coming through. And if we look here, we see CPI is coming in about 2.5 hours, 3 hours from now. And what we could see here is we're sitting at basically the forecast and, prediction, right? 2.4, we're going to get 2.4 type of thing here. Now, if this comes out a little bit higher or comes out a little bit worse, let's say, right, then we're going to be sitting at a perfect time with Bitcoin at resistance to reject, okay? And then there's nothing stopping us from going here. Then we have that bullish pattern in play. We get our buys in 2 days from now. Again, I want my limit order buys. That's what I'm waiting for, okay? And yeah, we go all in and we rocket ship up. This is nothing that is reversing anything. This is how the game is being formed. Sometimes things are premature, right? This could be a premature bounce. Could not be the real one just yet. And again, I'm teaching you valuable lessons here because yes, buy here. It's very likely in 2 weeks you're actually up in money, right? But do you want to go through a 15% drawdown first? That's the question, right? Any leverage traders, any short-term traders, we don't really want to go through those percentages first at any point. But again, we must understand that play. So for now, as it stands, we are fighting over here, and this is still resistance. And I want to show you guys on this chart over here. If so, this is what it looks like. Because what we are seeing now is we are seeing a pump into CPI, right? We basically got CPI coming at, and the market's starting to wake up now as we get there. And I actually want to quickly look at stock markets as well to see where this is now sitting. Okay, here is the futures looking really strong, but also coming straight into resistance. Okay, so you see this over here. So stock market's also going straight into resistance now. So again, what I see here on stock markets is I see something like this, right? I see if we had to not get through this now, something is telling me CPI reading is going to be bad today, will not be as great as what we expected, and might create a rejection. On the other side, it could be great and break through. I, again, would rather let it break through and buy the retest. But as it stands right now, I see a left shoulder ahead, nothing stopping this and going. Again, the important thing is stock markets broke out. So it's broken out. We're going up overall on the higher time frames. It's about the interim of what's going to basically happen here. And as it stands right now, into resistance does give me an idea that a rejection can happen into support. And that's the perfect little leg that we need for Bitcoin to drop into that sexy zone that we want and to get those buy zones we've been waiting for, right? So again, we are, one thing I want us to promise each other, and hit the like if you promise me, right? Level-headed. No rush, level-headed, right? Level-headed, and let's make a lot of money. What mistake did I make? And I'm going to say this right now, right? What mistake did I make in December when we called the first dump? Remember? I called the dump. I went red when everyone was green. We got the top. What was the mistake? Deployed too quickly, right? That was the mistake. We caught the top beautifully. We then caught the thing, but we deployed too fast. And all of a sudden, a little bit later, there was even lower entries to actually get from there. So that's a nice little sign here, just to say, let's go. Yes, tomorrow I'll do it. Once my limit orders hit, then we'll play. Until then, we're waiting. But nonetheless, again, if we break through, I'll show you the plan now of where exactly I'm buying, right? But this is something to pay attention to. So again, what you have here now going with Bitcoin is it's actually going straight into resistance now. It's going straight to where we lost the trend line. We have a bunch of all these previous lows that were support, okay? And that's giving me an indication that, hey, this down leg may not be done just yet. Then what would happen? Let's go through a bad reading, or things start to get a little bit negative now, or a rejection. It's a good thing. We want to buy it. Again, we want to be on this side and not on the pumpy side when we are buying, right? We want to be on the side where the markets are pulling back, okay? But this is what it looks like. We go here, we start to drop off into here, and then the same play. So the same pattern that I painted yesterday, it might just be a little bit bigger, okay? And the only reason, yet again, is what I'm saying is because we're not through this area just yet. But now let's speak about this area, right? Let me, where's this over here? There we go, okay? Now let's speak about this. Let's speak about, hey, CPI is great today and actually gives us exactly what we want. Then what's going to happen is from here, we are actually going to rip straight up into this area, come back into our trend line, and then we're going to go. We're going to reclaim support. And if we reclaim support, then I'm confident to say this pullback is finished. This thing is done. Now, Sheldon, what are these reasons why you don't think that maybe the pullback is done yet, right? It's because of these little things over here. Just bring this up here. Where is it? There we go. Okay. 1 hour's at the top, 4 hours at the bottom. Good sign, right? 8 hour near the bottom. Here's the problem. 12 hour on its way down, daily just making its way down. So if I prematurely buy, right, again, does not mean I'm not making money in the next 3 weeks, 2 weeks, but I might go into a 15% drawdown, which I kind of think we're over those days now, right? We need to get ourselves into good habits. Before this market goes through the moon and goes crazy, good, legit habits is what's going to get us through to where we need to get, right? So again, these two higher time frame RSIs are basically saying, hey, this is a temporary little bounce. There's still another leg that can possibly happen to the downside, right? So what that means yet again is I would rather let it explode through here, then pull back, and then that is where I'm going to be looking at getting some buys. As it stands right now, I'm preparing for one more leg to the downside. Where is this leg? Because this is what created a little bit of concern for me that maybe there's not support. Again, we're in bull market, right? This market can do whatever the hell it wants. But if you look at this over here, where we stopped, if I go market, let's just bring up the square over here. There we go. Okay. If I go market, it kind of didn't bounce on any supports. Do you see here on the left? There's a top. We broke through that top. Okay. Here we didn't hit. So it gives me an idea that Bitcoin wants to come to this area over here. If we start this pullback. And again, if that stock market comes down in the way that it could come down, right, just for that retest, this could definitely be the areas of Bitcoin. So as it stands right now, I'm still in this little bit of a mindset that Bitcoin's going to come down to this 100, maybe 99,500. That's the zone for me, right? That's the zone where I'm looking at, and that's what I'm paying attention to. When it comes down here to the total 3, we didn't bounce on support. We bounced here, no support. This is where the lows are sitting, right? So for me, it gives me an idea that altcoins want to come down to these lows over here. Then from there, the same pattern forms out, guys. When we hit this buying power, we are going to see a mega bounce straight back to the top. Then a little trap just to trap late buyers. And then the real altcoin pump happens. Then we get going, right? When things start shifting. So again, all that I'm doing now is just preparing myself for both. But the thing that excites me more right now is to leave my limits orders in, rather than just FOMOing in right now. Leave them in, keep them nice and strong, and then we go. So I'm about to go through a bunch of altcoins. Before I do that, right, I want to show you guys this again. I want to remind you that we have this thing called Bitfunded. If you've never traded any leverage or anything before, the way it works, it's prop trading. So you pay $79, okay? And if you pass stage 1 and stage 2, you trade demo accounts. And if you get 8% gains, up or down, long or short, and 5%, you unlock $5,000 and you keep 90% of the money. Now, the exciting thing that I have for you guys today is if you join Sniper School and you finish Sniper School, right? I want to show you here below. Sniper School is free. In order to get it, use an exchange link. I have 𝗏𝗏𝗏 over here. I got 𝗬𝗏𝗡𝗏. I got 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, any of these here. Just by using opening and depositing, you can get into the school for free. That's your money. You have it, right? But those, the first 500 that finish school, right, will get, let me actually get this for you over here. It's incredible, right? Because I love Bitfunded. Bitfunded are such a good team. They really are. The first 500 users get a free funded demo account of $15,000, right? For the first 500 that finish. The second 500 that finish get a $10,000 demo account, and the third 500. So we've got 1,500 Bitfunded accounts to give you guys in school. For those who finish this cohort, the cohort starts in 2 weeks, right? You get a damn Bitfunded account. You come to the school and you walk out with a funded account. Insane, right? Insane, insane, insane. So there is Sniper School. Go click on this link. Go register yourself. We have a ton of Bitfunded. And anyone that wants to buy a Bitfunded account, okay, you get one for free. This is only for the next 3 days. If you buy this one over here, or any of these over here, you can see it's 99, 149, 249, 339. You buy any of these over here, you get one of them for free. You can only get it on my link below by either the Sniper School. Remember, you get if you've just finished school, right? But if you use the Bitfunded link, here's it over here, and you sign up and you buy a package, you get one for free. This is for 3 days. You got it? Okay, let's go. Let's jump straight into the altcoins. Okay. Oh, one more thing, guys. I think there is one more little spike in Bitcoin dominance. I think it happens on the pullback. This is what I'm seeing, right? I'm seeing that this is good. We hit the support, okay? But I see one more push up. So it just tells me again that if Bitcoin does pull back to the zones we're expecting it to pull back, your altcoins are going to pull back more aggressively, right? Your altcoin is going to pull back harder than what Bitcoin's going to pull back. So just keep that in mind, okay? And last thing over here is the USDT dominance. Just showing again, I want to see this go to the trend. So a little bit more downside in the market and then a collapse. And that's where we're going to make mega money. Okay, so jumping back in here, again, my limit orders are still sitting pretty tight, right? So ETH, this is the ETH chart. I cannot ignore that this is the first lower low, right? And it's showing me that my ETH buys right now make sense to the areas of the 2,250 to 2,300. So that's where my limit orders are sitting right now. I'm putting around 50% of my capital on limit orders, guys. The other 50, I'm going to deploy manually once the bounce has been confirmed. Why I really want us to reject soon, not reject soon, I don't want us to. If we go through the other way, that's fine. But I would like to get a nice trend line going. So I'd like to see this go up and then start to make its way down so that I can put this nice trend. We don't have a trend line at the moment. Put that trend in, catch it as it moves. Okay, go through a bunch of them here. Yeah, here's Dogecoin. Doge is starting to make a bullish pattern. So again, we are bullish today, okay, but we're being smart with our buys. What it's showing me here is a dip off anywhere to these highs over here. Where it bounced, didn't bounce on really strongish support. Okay, so one more pull here and rocket ships. Again, the next pump is going to make this one look like it was nothing. right? The next one is the big one. The next one is Bitcoin breaking all-time highs, right? That's the exciting one. That's the big one. Over here, again, go through a couple of them here. This is near pretty good, a little bit lower. It's around 2.9. We look here at Cardano. So this is the play. This is what I'm currently seeing. At any point now, something's telling me CPI is going to be not so great. And again, if CPI is not great, it's 24-hour panic, and then after that, things go back to normal again, right? Everything just retests, buying power comes in. So from here, drop off here into the 74-cent, 75-cent mark on Cardano, and from there, we start rocketing up. Sol is one that I really want. So I'm still waiting for a Sol drop. I got my first limit order sitting at 165, and I have my second one sitting at 162. That's what I want. I really want the Solana entry. The Sol entry is equipping us for the next pump to $240, right? So Sol is a big one there. There is Sonic. There is Algo. We've hit supports, but again, I see us coming a little bit lower into zones, and then we get moving to the upside over there. The top ones to really focus on here, guys, is I would really focus on blue chips. After this, again, if you want a couple of memes as well, I'm pretty sure the memes are coming down a bit harder today, but blue chip altcoins, right? Like I'm going for some AVAX, I'm going for some Solana, I'm going for some Sonic, I'm going for some Casper, I'm going for some Cardano, I'm going for some Doge, I'm going for some ETH. I'm making sure that, remember, I like, especially trading, I like trading tokens that I know rather than go trade the random coin that I've never traded before. So I'm going to trade because, again, I don't need my coin to move more than yours. I have leverage on my side, right? So if your coin's pumping 300%, mine's pumping 50%, me on a 5x, I'm making the same amount of money as you, right? But I want to get good at trading the specific tokens that I am trading. So again, limit orders and all of these over here. So guys, today, quicker show. Not much more over there. I'm going to jump off now. But again, tomorrow, you are probably very likely going to see it's time to buy. And then I'll bring you 20 altcoins, buy list, stop losses. For now, you know where the limits are. You know where we sit now. We sit patient. If you've come this far, sit another couple of hours, okay? And we wait for the market to give the next sign. As it stands right now, there's a trap going to be formed and another leg to the downside. And if we decide to crack through it, then tomorrow, either way, we're going to have buy zones in the next 24 to 48 hours, and we're going to be in the damn market. So guys, love you lots. I'll see you all tomorrow. Well done on staying level-headed, and have a fantastic day. Goodbye.